Hey guys, Corvus here and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Ghost of a Tale. Now I want to preface this with one little disclaimer. I was very kindly sent an early access / beta key for this game for the purpose of testing and review. My opinion, however, is unchanged and honest, drawn entirely from experiences I've had with the game. Now, Ghost of a Tale is an early access action RPG stealth game developed by Seath CG, which takes place in a medieval setting, but with animals, primarily rodents, as its inhabitants. The game is currently in production for PC and Xbox One, with the possibility of a PS4 release in the future, though this is in no way confirmed or in the works at this point in time. I've seen a lot of things online drawing comparisons from this game to the Redwall series of books and the cartoon, and I must say that this is actually the first thing I thought of, though I feel like the similarities end with these primarily visual themes. I guess it's a bit like comparing Zelda and the Lord of the Rings, just because they both have horses, swords, and people with pointy ears. Anyway, within the first minute or so you'll be playing. There's a short cutscene setting up some very minimal backstory, and then you're thrown in by the way of a jail cell. You'll find a note and some keys, unlock your cell, and then you're on your own, with the sole goal being to escape. This simple start does not mean that there's any form of lackluster storytelling though, or any lack of depth in that department at all, and I'll be getting onto that later in the video. Overall though, this game itself is dark and damn atmospheric with some amazing graphical detail. This, paired with the straightforward but versatile, buttery smooth gameplay, births an absolute gem of a game. So, the first thing you'll notice, whether it's from screenshots, videos, or from jumping in yourself, is this game's appearance. It's been developed almost entirely by one person, Seath himself, with some help also coming from a handful of people with the overall design, story, marketing, and music. Considering this very small team and assumingly limited budget, the game is beautiful. From the texture work, the 3D models and use of lighting, all the way to the animations and even how your friggin' clothes move, the game screams beauty from every corner. Despite its setting, in regards to the characters, the game resonates with this kind of dark realism, in a style that I've honestly not seen a game pull off in a long time, if ever. This balance of a fairly lighthearted context but with much more mature delivery reminds me a lot of some older novels and animations, such as Animal Farm and Watership Down. The game's dramatic use of lighting adds so much to the atmosphere as well, and even ends up turning from what's just there to look nice into an actual gameplay mechanic, with you often resorting to use the shadows of enemies to judge whether or not you should scurry across the passage to reach the next hiding place. All in all, this game manages to pull off what I feel a lot of AAA games simply can't with their intense scopes and budgets. It utilizes almost every aspect of its appearance in a way that actually matters, whether it's just for simply building atmosphere or truly blending the realms of graphics and gameplay. Turning a corner, unsure if you're going to find an enemy, only to spot the light reflecting off the cold red eyes of a rat, it's just an amazing feat of design. Sure, I could walk around and find out myself, or hide and listen out for footsteps or snoring, but that's also where this game shines out. Time and time again, you'll see or hear stories of early access games just doing the bare minimum, or not even that. You know, there's one path with only one way to get on it, and that's your game. GG, well played, £15, here's 0 updates. All in all, at a time where the low budgets of indie games crush the game under stylized graphics, we see a game that not only manages to achieve a unique style for itself, but one that also refuses to sacrifice that fairly gritty sense of realism that it's set out to deliver. An absolute 10 out of 10 for me in the graphical department. Next up though, is the gameplay. This game is a stealth game. At its core, that's just what it is, or at least from what I've seen in the first couple of hours anyway. A very minimal focus on combat puts you in this position in which you're having to take care, being sure of where you're throwing an item to distract an enemy, or just working out which hiding spots you can run to as you make your way down a hall. It all highlights the strongest virtue of them all, patience. Learning the walk cycles, figuring out blind spots, and altogether using your environment, it transforms what was just this dark hand around your neck and turns it into a tool, and then you turn it around against those out to catch you. The sound in this game too adds immensely to the atmosphere. The game is mostly silent, to allow you to listen to your surroundings and judge where enemies are, and this is a great example of using sound as a gameplay element, but when the music does kick in, it highlights that moment in a way that you won't forget. You get spotted by an enemy, and the music plays. And this complete 180-degree turn adds to the suspense and drama of the situation, and after a few times, it'll echo on in the back of your head. Sure, you don't want to screw up because it'll halt your progress, but also you don't want to screw up because your associations with screwing up are that of this big loud moment of panic as you rushed against your stamina bar, finding a place to hide. It's just excellently done. Oh yeah, also there's a stamina bar. Dark Souls confirmed. The puzzles in the game present themselves very well. There's a guard standing in front of the door that's locked, and only he has the key. What do? Well, you can make some noise and draw him out, sneaking up and stealing it as he walks back to his post. Or how about throwing a glass of grease, which he'll then slip on as he comes to investigate? Or what if you snuck past him, up the stairs, and then knocked him unconscious by pushing down a barrel? I think the options, are one of the cooler parts of the gameplay in Ghost of a Tale. There are definitely a lot of places where there's one clear way, but then the open-ended aspect of this game almost gives each hall you walk down a sandboxy type vibe. It's great, it's like a playground. The controls are very tight. The game has definitely been designed for play with a controller. I believe mouse and keyboard is supported, but development at every stage has progressed with the controller in mind, and it's definitely how I'd recommend playing. There's one trigger to sprint, one to crouch, an interact button and a button to throw. It all feels very, very natural. Your health is depleted when attacked, and can be restored using food you find around the world. There's also the stamina bar I mentioned, and that goes down very quickly and can push you into some intense moments where you're running away from an enemy, trying to find a place to hide. There is also a fairly simple progression system, in which you can find pieces of gear to change your appearance, all scattered around. Finding and wearing all pieces of a set will grant you a bonus. I collected all of the pirate pieces and ended up doubling my health. I haven't tested this for other sets, but considering the multiple stats you have, I assume that the different ones do different things. Promotional material shows off a full set of metal armor, which I'm assuming would drastically increase defense at the cost of some movement speed or stamina. In addition to the food, there is also a wide array of tools you can pick up. Whether they're sticks or glass bottles or whatever, you'll find use for them in the world. Distracting enemies, opening door latches from afar, or just simply lighting up dark places so you can pick up some loot. Everything has a purpose. In fact, no. The best thing is that everything has multiple purposes. The game does also feature a quest system, and this will be a lot of how your interactions with NPCs in the world play out. These open up little stories between yourself and other characters in the game, as well as giving you a reason to go through places you've already conquered in order to find new secret places, or shortcuts that you can take, bypassing the need to go through those heavy stealth areas over and over again. The dialogue can be super funny too, and it adds a strong sense of character to the beings in the world, which is another nice contrast with the darker sections of the game. And this moves me on to the story. Now usually doing a review like this I would probably do the story first, but due to the nature of the game and how gameplay centric it is, I figured I should start with what people are most likely going to be interested in. But this does not mean that the story in the game is any kind of lackluster or minimal or anything like that. The story is there and the story is great. So, as I mentioned before, you play as a mouse called Tilo, or Tylo, I think it's Tilo though. And he's also a minstrel, and he's on a quest to reunite with his beloved and, yeah, escape jail, aren't we all? The cutscene at the start sheds a little light on the setting, but one of my favourite things about the story in this game is about how the depth of the world is fed to you. You'll sneak past some guards and enter a room in which you'll find a book, and you can read this book to learn more about the world, or specific guards and what they've been up to. Where most games would force feed you a cutscene or some dialogue, this game leaves things around for you to find, to slowly add to your knowledge and immersion in a way that wouldn't get in the way of gameplay. Now, I'm a huge fan of story in games. Where people hate the idea of cinematicism and 3-hour-long movie games, I really enjoy them. I've been an avid reader all my life, and there's nothing I love more than to jump into a world and learn everything about it. However, given the nature of this game and the sense of urgency and suspense it often puts on you, I feel like the stripped-back approach was actually the best way to deliver it. Not only can sneaking into a guarded room feel scary as hell, it's also rewarding as fuck to find a prize that will then enrich your experience and understanding of the setting, instead of just finding another damn pile of coins like most other games would do. This style of delivery is fantastic, and while it might not be one of my personal favourites for every game ever, it's definitely the best choice of delivery for this game. That's not all, however. I mentioned the quest system in the gameplay section, and I want to revisit that quickly in the context of the story. Interacting with NPCs for or during these quests allows you to choose dialogue options, Again, like the books and notes you find, a lot of these options are optional. If you found the item they want, you can go straight ahead, give it to them, boom, done. However, you can interact deeper and ask them questions, give them different replies based on how you want to go about things, and this can often reward you with more information, not just on that particular NPC, but on the world as a whole. The first guy you talk to in the whole game just wants some booze. He asks you if you can help, and then a pop-up appears acting as a kind of encyclopedia, where you can then choose to learn more about the thing he's talking about. The same thing happens when locations and certain people are mentioned, and it kind of reminds me of the system in The Witcher, where there's always something you could read more about if you want to. I actually got annoyed at myself. I just hunted back through the jail to find a hidden stash for these 2 mice that are up in a cell on the surface, and I'd managed to retrieve it and to get it back to them, but the day cycle was shifting, and one of them was already sleeping. In talking to the other, I had the option to hand in the quest, but I ended up exploring the dialogue options and performed him a little song to help him fall asleep. And this played a nice animation of the lyrics appearing as the loop backing track played, and after which, the mouse had fallen asleep. And there I was, with the clock nearing midnight, with a quest that I had to hand in the daytime. And it was this level of detail that really sunk it all in, that the interaction here isn't just simply there to force feed you context of the gameplay, but to be there in addition. These aren't just 2 pillars of game design leaning on each other to hold up a price tag. This is the evidence of a lot of love and hard work going into both of the game's world and how you play within it. This system of storytelling fits the design and gameplay of the game perfectly. The option to focus more on the thrill and excitement of gameplay is never abandoned, but the depth and intrigue of the world is also always there, should you choose to look for it. And I think no matter what you prefer, intense and detailed stories or a heavy focus on that clever puzzle-based gameplay, you'll have a good time with Ghost of a Tale. Overall, I can't believe how positive this review/preview thing has come out. A few words to remember though. I have only played this game for a few hours, and while this early access opens up a lot to you as a player, it's worth remembering that about only 25% to a third of the game is currently playable as it goes further into development. Despite this though, is the game worth picking up? Yes. Outside of the very few unacceptable bugs I've seen, considering this is early access of course, I honestly don't have many complaints at all. It's also worth noting that the game in its state isn't entirely optimized, so it's worth checking out the website, link in the description, to cross-reference your specs with those that are recommended. It's not going to be hugely demanding if you have a gaming PC, but still, it's best to be safe. If the style of gameplay and that kind of stealth stuff is your thing, then go for it. If the setting and the kind of themes of the game look cool and interesting to you, then trust your gut and go for it as well. That's what I did. Well, I mean, I got it for free, so, you know, it's your money, but I definitely think it's worthwhile. A lot of effort and love has gone into this, evidently, you know, just by looking at it. For such a small team too, it's unreal. And I definitely think that this is a labor of love, and the updates will definitely be coming, unlike a lot of other early access games on Steam. And if it's something that tickles your fancy, just jump right in. You know, if you have any kind of doubts or whatever else, then watch a couple of gameplay videos, wait till more information comes out, maybe wait till further in development. But honestly, this has blown me away and has completely raised the bar for any early access game. Honestly, it's fantastic, and I really can't praise it enough. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe for more videos, and you can click an annotation somewhere to watch me play the first Harry Potter game. It's not that good. Or if you want to listen to some of my music, you can click on the other annotation. Thanks again, and thanks again to CCG for the access to the game. Really impressed by it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Mwah.